like to start by thanking Satyajyoti as well for that talk. I think a lot of people in our group mentioned how helpful it was and what a good time it was for it. So that's great. Thank you again, Satyajyoti. And yeah, so we're going to be doing the mindfulness of breathing in a bit. And yeah, I'd like to sort of say a bit about that and introduce it in a way. But before that, I think I'll mention that like some of us have a lot of spare time, aren't really doing anything at the moment because they're locked in and don't really have much to do, and they've got a lot of space and a lot of time. And I can recommend them to look for a free Buddhist audio, and we'll post this link on the internet site, on our site, so you can find it from there as well. But if you go to free Buddhist audio, there is a retreat called Meditation Essentials, led by Satyaraja. So there is like 7 hours of introduction, instructions, and led through meditations there. So that's like that will give you a full toolkit to work in meditation. So I would recommend, if you've got this spare time and you really like to take your practice further and make the most of this time, I'd recommend you look at that link and yeah, just follow through with that. But it is long. It is like 7 hours of information. So just, over the next few weeks, look into that. So Satyajyoti also mentioned about integration and about different selves, like different bits of ourselves. And the mindfulness of breathing is the main way we work in actually developing integration. So we can be more accomplished in doing things and getting things done and following through with our commitments. And also, I find that the more we integrate it, the less we're frightened of uncertainty or different parts of ourselves. We just feel there's a peace of mind. There's a very positive sense. There's a very positive place to be. And yeah, I won't say much more about that, but I think I'll try and explain it with a personal example and an image that works for me. So the image I've got is kind of like an octopus. So in a way, like the octopus has got all different tentacles, different arms, and yeah, like there could be an anxious self. So there could be there's a part of us that's quite anxious. It could be a part that's angry. It could be a part that's kind of frightened, or it could be a warrior side, was trying to just always break through things when it's in charge, just go through things. It could be a cynical part of ourselves, a cynical self, or a bit that feels poor me all the time, and or like an insecure, I'm not good enough kind of self. And these bits quite often kind of have a dialogue, and like to say the part of me that just likes getting things done, the warrior sort of self or tentacle, I could say, is quite often in a strong conflict with the more insecure part of me. And this takes up a lot of energy. So just a lot of my energy, a lot of my abilities are distracted through this. And yeah, so I suppose if you imagine like an octopus has got one tentacle wrapped around the rock and says, I'm not getting out of this cave. And then there's another bit that's trying to go somewhere, go out and go open up into a bigger space, but it's not going to happen, or there's just so much energy loss, so much conflict. And to say this in my own personal experience, to give an example, I was thinking, like when the opportunity came up, when who was going to lead this meditation. So I could clearly see two parts of me, two selves coming up, and one of it, I'll call it Maitrivasin 1. Was saying, no way am I doing this, absolutely no way. And that's the bit, obviously, that lacks confidence and fears failure and blame. And yeah, frightened of public speaking and things like that. So it's just saying, absolutely no way am I doing this, am I volunteering to do this. And then there's Maitrivasin 2, who likes to give, to share, and saw this as an opportunity to benefit others, and a generous act. And he wanted to say, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do this. And yeah, and it's not to say that Maitrivasin 2 is a good tentacle, to put it that way, or Maitrivasin 1 is a bad one kind of thing. It's because there's things like status and praise involved in it as well. So it's not there isn't a a sort of ethical judgment between them. They're both parts of me. They're both parts of me. Yeah, and most of the time, I suppose, most of my life, really, Maitrivasin 1's been very much in charge. Very much in charge is just been saying, no way am I doing things that put me outside my comfort zone. So I've avoided taking on challenges. I've avoided taking on responsibilities I wasn't comfortable with. But over the years, that's begun to change. So there's been a change. And it's important to say, I suppose, that this change is a slower process. So what was introduced in the previous weeks, like a patient, metaful sort of awareness is really essential. We need to be very patient with it as well. Because I'm seeing this dialogue between my different selves kind of evolving slowly. And I was thinking, like, Buddhism has many lists, and some people really like lists. So I thought, well, I just naturally came up with a list, and it's not actually in anything. You won't be able to find it in any book or anywhere like that. But I came up with a list of, and I basically called it levels of inner dialogue amongst selves. So yeah, levels of inner dialogue amongst selves. And with patient metaful awareness, I've managed to move from like a total kind of contradiction in myself towards more towards an integrated self. And in this list, I would say, like, when I first become aware of these two, Maitrivasin 1 and 2, it's been like it's like an all-out war. That's how it started, like an all-out war between these two selves, and it's quite tiring and it's quite knackering and very unpleasant. And then in time, it's kind of moved into like a bit more of a tug of war. So and then I've got like sort of a disagreement, so that these two parts have kind of got into a bit of a disagreement level. And this can go into further, I've said, like discussion, tolerance, and then a harmonious integration kind of stage. And this is where we want to head up, in this direction, where all different selves are actually more in harmony and integrated. So in the past, been very much dominated by Maitrivasin 1 about, I'm not taking this on, I'm not doing anything outside my comfort zones, no way, to more like being able to support Maitrivasin 2 in a way that I want to take on more challenges, I want to give, I want to be able to do more and share more and be of more benefit. Initially I did this at the expense of listening to the fears in me, to the difficulties, and though it works a bit, it's not a sustainable method. It's almost like cutting off one of the tentacles, and that's not a very effective way of progressing and growing. So eventually I've kind of almost stopped taking sides between, I want to prefer this Maitrivasin to that Maitrivasin, but got to an acknowledgement of both sides, and that there is a disagreement in me. There is a variety of me's that want different things, and it's comfortable at different levels, and there is an anxiety part of me that feels anxious about doing things like this, and there's a part of me that really wants to do it. And I've got to a stage where I can have a bit more of a discussion now. So with being able to acknowledge with patience and with metta and bringing awareness to it, I've got to a stage where these two bits can have a bit of a discussion. And I haven't got much further than that. There is still a discussion going on. I'm happy with the results in a way. I just feel a lot more able to be at peace with myself already, and I see much more progress that could be done. So it's important to like what I've learned, really important to not cut off bits of ourselves. Actually, like our experience needs to be open to all different bits of us, and need to acknowledge them arising. So anyway, how does this relate to the practice? How does it relate to integration? How does it relate to the practice itself of mindfulness of breathing? And so in that sense, it's important, like for me to see the breath and counting and the breath as anchors. So we spend a lot of time, like a part of me staying with the breath and looking at that. But part of me needs to have a broader awareness, just being aware of what's arising and different me's in the Maitrivasin 1s and 2s and what's coming in, and be open to that and receptive and in a way curious to it. And in a way, learning to do this is actually, learning to be okay with these little irritations or bits of me that I don't want to acknowledge is actually, it's quite helpful in developing more strength to facing and acknowledging and confronting so bigger problems. And in these challenging times, I suppose all these different cells actually are closer to the surface, so it's quite a good time, quite an opportunity to look out for these different cells and to integrate them and become aware and work with them. And also the same is happening for other people, so we can really use this to connect to other people as well. It's not just about looking inwards. We can really see other people and see their different responses, different cells. So it can be very connecting and improve our communication and relationship with people. In this meditation we're going into, we can look for and encourage a sort of a patient, non-judgmental, a metaphysical awareness of what's going on in the broader sense, and also in the anchored breath itself and the body itself. But this doesn't mean indulging or entertaining these bits that come in. We don't want to be distracted, but remain anchored in the breath. Yeah, so I think that's plenty I've said. So if you'd like to get into your meditation postures and positions, and here in the Red Shrine Room, there's a few of us, and we'll salute the shrine in unison, and then we can get onto the meditation. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Namah, Om Om. Okay, if you'd like to settle down, maybe a few deep breaths. And on the out breath, just bring awareness to all the bits of the body that are in contact with the ground. Let the earth take our weight. Bring awareness to the lower body, to the hips, to the legs and knees. Our ankles. Just letting go of any excess tension. Moving up into the upper body. Rising up like a mountain. With the out breath, just letting go of any excess tension in the back. Maybe abdomen or chest, or our shoulders and neck. And all the way up to the crown of our head, just reaching up into the sky. Keeping focused awareness on the breath, but also on receptivity to the broad sounds, thoughts, emotions that are going on around us. As we begin the mindfulness of breathing. Thank you, everybody. It's been lovely seeing all the faces and all the contributions. Have a lovely evening and have a lovely week.